no good. Rebounded by Anthony. 2 seconds left. Anthony for the win. Cody rolls it. Cole Anthony gives the Magic a victory.
Close-up Magic.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Close-Up Magic. I'm your host, Stephen Cameron, and today we got a really fun episode. We got Luke from Australia. You guys know him and love him. You haven't heard him in a while, but we're going to get him back up and talk some Magic basketball. Before we get into that, there's a couple of ways. We're just going to get into the housekeeping stuff. So if you want to support us, there's a couple of ways to do that. You can do that through buying merch in the link below that supports this channel, or you can become a Patreon. We're doing some cool things with the Patreon program. We just added a new tier, a $3 tier that gets you access to the Discord. You want to join the Discord if you are considering supporting us. It's going to get you access to things like weekly live stream watch parties on the Discord channel. It's a lot of fun. We're going to be starting those up either later this week or early next week. We'll do an announcement online for those, but check those out. The other ways you can support us is just by doing all the good things. Like, subscribe, leave reviews. All those things are really important for us, and we really appreciate it. Without further ado, we're just going to bring Luke up here and get right into it. Luke, round two, baby, with some better internet connections. Your man had to sweet talk the front desk to giving me hotel employee access to their Wi-Fi. So we are there. Welcome back on the show after some technical difficulties. How you doing today, man?
I'm good, man. I'm glad you're able to sweet talk your way into some fast-running internets.
Yes.
I thought America was, you guys were the technological kings. I thought everything should be running smoothly over there.
Not always, man. Not always. So, question for you, Luke. Before we got cut off internet-wise, we were talking about your involvement with basketball in Australia because you're connected on many different ways. For the listeners that don't know, why don't you give a little breakdown on what you're doing? Because you're Coach Luke, in my opinion. What's going on with basketball over in Australia?
So yeah, for 8 years, man, I've been doing a part of a lot of different basketball roles. I've always worked full time, I've always held down a job. I've had a couple of opportunities to move into basketball as my main employment, but it just hasn't really suited financially. But and this has of course been in Melbourne and the 2 years I spent in Toronto, Canada as well.
Cool.
Right now I've got two roles, or three technically. I'm the community and engagement officer for Darebin Basketball Association, which is an area in Melbourne. We run representative teams for the area that play in a statewide comp in the VJBL, which is the highest level of youth comp in the state. We also run beginners programs, engage with community partners, run domestic development teams. Right now we're partnered with Indigenous Basketball Australia, which is through Paddy Mills, not-for-profit, that him and his family run, providing opportunities there. And I'm also on the committee for a place called Helping Hoops, which provides free programs to a lot of the commission and low-cost housing around the city, predominantly for families from refugee backgrounds and stuff. Cool thing about Helping Hoops is one of our major sponsors is Nike, and another major sponsor as a subsidiary of that is the Ben Simmons Family Foundation. So I've only been on the committee a little bit, but back when I was a volunteer, I'd been around that family a touch. Never met Ben face to face, but had some chats with his mum. Been in the same room as Ben, and I think I took a sneaky photo of him and sent it to my friends. But a lot of the stuff with Ben right now is tough for us, I think, as an organization, because we know how much good he does want to do,
Sure.
the organization knows about a lot of the stuff that he kind of has that he wants to do off the court and all of that. So I'm just, I'm hoping for him right now to find where he needs to be to get back to the player he was. And also, I just coach dude as well. I coach two teams right now, an under 16s and under 21s domestic team. Domestic is kind of the entry level where anyone can pay to play in this state. And then you go from domestic to rep. My under 21s boys are a little bit higher level. My under 16s are a little bit more beginner. And I think next season from about October, I probably will finally take up a rep opportunity. I coached assistant coach rep in Toronto. But I've said no to three coaching roles in Melbourne over the last few years. And think I'm finally going to give it a crack. I think I can make it work time-wise. It's a higher commitment, there's a lot more effort you need to put in regards to what you're teaching, a lot more parents breathing down your neck, because playing rep in Victoria, you're playing VJBL, and VJBL is where, Ben Simmons, Dante Exum, Andrew Bogut, all of those guys grew up playing VJBL, and that's kind of the pathway into, better opportunities and stuff. And not that I would go straight up to those levels, but you've still got parents who paying a lot more money, putting a lot more in. And yeah, so if I'm not at work, man, in my 9 to 5, like I'm pretty locked down. I'm either on a basketball court with people, or I'm in an office talking about basketball endeavors and how we're going to do things, or I'm on a Zoom call, or I'm watching the Magic, or I'm talking basketball with my friends. It's pretty cool, man.
That is cool. And that's a fun perspective compared to, some of the, no shade on any of the other guests that I've had on here, but it's like you bring a different outlook and perspective from, from your experiences, from being on committees and wanting to help underprivileged and unrepresented communities get on the court and have access and things like that. With your time with coaching and just understanding the game differently, it's just cool. And I always appreciate the conversations we have because of it. It's interesting about the Ben Simmons stuff, man. It's like, he's obviously having a really weird year right now, and he's been in like a weird space ever since his injuries and stuff like that, and his time in Philly. And he's obviously a super talented kid. And so or man at this point, and hopefully he can find like that mental space to where he needs to be. Cause dude, a healthy, mentally, Ben Simmons is a dominant player, all NBA type player. I remember people forget that there were discussions at one point, like if the Sixers had to blow it up, who they should focus on, like who they should build around it. And it was not at that point, it was not just a, hey, clear cut, let's go Embiid, like, cause Ben Simmons was that dominant. People forget about that and just kind of remember what we've seen the last couple of years. And he's young. I think he's got a lot of time to like figure out what's going on and get into that better headspace.
There's a curse of fandom, man. And I think it's that people remember the last 5 minutes, like there's like goldfish memories, man. And yeah, like look, it's he's not a Magic player, so we don't need to get too deep into it.
No,
but for me, I think right now it's a mix of just some mental stuff, but also like the back. Like you can't watch him. If you watch him now and think he looks the same, I need you to get on YouTube and look at like Ben Simmons' first years in the league, because he's not moving the same. It's simply not the case that he's moving the same. But also, man, like, yeah, just for him, just for his family, just for what he does for the city of Melbourne. And also, man, like, he's only ever played for Australia twice, when he was a kid, when he was like 17 and he came off the bench in like 2 qualifiers. Like, I'm dreaming of the day like he finally pulls on that jersey and plays like a World Cup or an Olympics, man.
Would be amazing, I'm sure. It'd be awesome for your country because it'd just be cool. Be really cool. Mm-hmm. All right, man, let's get into some Magic stuff. We as if I'm a part of the team. The Magic are... That's
what it is. You say that. You say we, man. I hate people who push against that.
Yeah, that's true. It's, it's a part, we're a part of them, The Magic are 25-36. They're still sitting 13th in the East. They had a chance to get into 12th the other night, and they had a nice L to the Pacers. What's pretty cool though, like, before we get into the nitty gritty of some stuff, like the Magic are actually doing pretty well defensively. We're league average. We're sitting 16th in the league defensively. Our offense is still really not great, 25th in the league. But that defensive rating for this team and kind of like how young they are and where they are in the development process, it's really nice to see how fast it jumped up to there after that putrid 5-20 start that this team had. Standing wise, just kind of where we're at, is this sort of like what you expected, like even just a month ago? Would you have still expected the Magic to kind of be in like this 13th spot? You don't need to go back all the way to like the beginning of the season, because obviously so much has changed, but like maybe since the new year.
They kind of are, because I think what was happening was I kept getting this sense like, okay, we're probably a shot at the play-in, and I would look every day at like the strength of schedule for like Toronto, Chicago, and it really felt like there was that few weeks there where every day we won, Toronto, Chicago won. Every day we lost, Toronto, Chicago lost. And it felt really stagnant for a little while that we just kept existing in this spot. And we unfortunately are still just kind of there. You know what I mean? Like, they've got this clumping of teams in that standing who are all performing around the same. I think Toronto are obviously starting to find their feet after they got a real center, after the cloud of everybody thinking they were going to get traded was taking away. Their vibes have kind of picked up, and like, I won't go into it, but anyone who's listened to this episode before, episodes with me on it, and Stephen, you know, like, Toronto are actually my soft spot, my second team, from living there for a couple of years and a few things when I was younger. So, they're going to be okay. They're probably going to stay where they are. I think Chicago could go either way. We've got Washington. There's obviously signs, like, you know, like, the fact that we've remained in the mix for this long is huge, because I actually didn't even expect that at the start of the year.
Totally.
I was hoping we'd push for 30 games, but I still expected a relatively ugly year, and next year would kind of be it. You know what I mean? But, you know, Markel has played better than I thought he was going to play. You know, Dell's continuing to settle in. Franz is backing it up. He showed that year one was real. He showed that he wasn't just a what do I call it? Like, bad team. Like, somebody's got to score the points all-star. You know what I mean? Like, Franz has shown that, like, he may not ever make an all-star team, but he will be in the discussion, like, 100%.
Absolutely.
Paolo is, you know, like, we'll probably get into it. Paolo's having a tough spell, but we've got something. We have something now. We're seeing it in the way the media is talking about us. We're seeing it in the way the fans are speaking, but this is still more than I expected, and it's going to be tough when we get to the end of the season and we're like 12th and we miss out by like 4 games, and I'm going to think about every game like the Pacers game. But this is still it, man. Like, this is a legitimate incremental improvement that has like substantial value moving forward, I think.
Yeah, you know, as far as like where we're at in the standing wise too, like, for me, I'd have to agree. This is sort of like, in a way, I'm a little bit surprised. You know, I kind of had this team pegged at, you know, even without the healthy, horrible injury luck we had at the beginning of the year, and I was a little under, but I had this team pegged at like 28 to 32 wins. That was the range window that I was given this team. And to know that probably would have been blown out of the water if this team was healthy, that this team has like been playing 500 basketball or a little bit better the last couple of months has been really cool. And for us to be like, okay, we're going to miss the play-in, but they're playing meaningful games down the stretch. And that is so important for this young squad. And now it's more or less like, cool, the team's healthy. They're playing meaningful basketball. They're not doing any like some super ugly tanking moves. You know, like Schofield isn't getting run out there for 25 minutes a game. Neither is Kevon Harris. Like, no offense to those guys. They're decent basketball players, but that's not who's going to win you games if they're playing large roles. You know, so it's just really cool because like now the front office has an opportunity to collect data that they wouldn't get if they were tanking. You know, these players have, you know, almost playoff implication intensity like matchups every single game, because right now every win matters. In their heads, they do have a chance at the play-in. And they for all intents and purposes, they could make the play-in. Do I think it's going to happen? No, I don't think the teams ahead of them are going to like lose enough, but it is possible, I guess. So like, yeah, man, like kind of in your sentence, so like really psyched with where the Magic are at right now. Just as a squad, as a team, knowing about some of the players that you mentioned, like, yeah, we got some really fucking good players that are not just like blips on the radar. To kind of
quickly, to your point quickly, like that term meaningful games, I think meaningful games can sometimes be thrown around a little loosely. It's just like, you know, there's all those basketball terms that just kind of get used. Like sometimes meaningful games gets thrown out a bit, but these players, like a bunch of these players have not, like, I think this year it really does apply to us. You know what I mean? Because when they walked into that locker room after the Indiana game the other night, like Mose would have said, like that's a season-defining game almost. You know, like this is one of those games that you'll think about at the end of the season. It's not another loss in February where one of our two-way guys has had to play 28 minutes. And, like we've seen how we are by February every other season for the last few seasons since we made the playoffs those 2 years in a row. It really is meaningful basketball now then, which I appreciate. But yeah, it doesn't mean that the losses suck any less.
No. And you're right. That's a really good point that you brought up. Since we've last talked, just to give the listeners, we are recording this Monday, February 27th. The Magic are tipping off with the Pelicans right now. So Luke and I are not watching the game at the moment. And we are recording this. So we're not really going to be talking about that. We recorded a late episode last week. So the Magic have actually had 2 games. They've gone 1-1. They had a buzzer beater with Wendell Carter on a really good play actually, where Paolo was opening it up for Wendell Carter to have that buzzer beater if Wendell missed the layup, or Paolo missing the layup. Thank you. Which, is exciting. I don't know if Wendell's ever had a buzzer beater like that before. So that's pretty cool. And then we just kind of had an embarrassing loss to the Pacers. They're on a 3-game road trip right now versus the Pelicans. We kind of mentioned him earlier, but I kind of want to stop and focus on him a little bit more. Is Paolo. He had this historic start to his rookie campaign for a couple of months, putting up ungodly numbers, like the most 20-point games as a rookie, some statistical areas that were on par with LeBron James' rookie year. Just really incredible stuff for such a young kid. And he's, unless things really shift, he's probably going to win Rookie of the Year, but there's no doubt that he is in a slump. And it feels a little bit more than a rookie wall, because which feels like a really, really big wall, like the rookie Great Wall of China kind of thing, because he's been going through it since mid-December. And I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on it. What, as someone who coaches young men who, some of them even around Paolo's age, has kind of just seen things a little bit differently, and obviously studies this team really well. What are your thoughts on Paolo right now and just some of the struggles that he's had and he's going through? Do you think it's just a rookie wall that's just kind of longer than most people are expecting? Do you think that there's something else going on? Just what are your thoughts over there?
Look, I'll say first, there's the rookie wall is real. I think that he's probably just hitting a period where he's tired and fatigued. We do know that there were those stretches where him and Franz were basically asked to basically play the replacement point guards in a sense. And I was worried about them coming out of that stretch, when both Cole and Markelle were out and everything. But they seemed okay with it after a while, and now I think that the season is starting to catch up on Paolo. So a part of me is look, there's nothing really to worry about. That's fine. However, there are some things about Paolo's game and temperament that, for me, have given me moments of pause. And I say this still high as hell on him. You know what I mean? I very genuinely think that he is going to have games that may win us a playoff series in the future. He's a guaranteed 5 to 8 time All-Star. You know what I mean? There is no doubt in my mind, but a guaranteed 5 to 8 time All-Star, there's been plenty of them in the league, man. And did they ever really get to the nitty gritty of the season at the end? Carmelo Anthony, for example, a guy like that, So what I'll say about Paolo is that when he came in, at first I wasn't super keen on getting him for a while. And then by the end, I think you remember me and you were talking on draft day, and I was like, man, I'm good with any of the top 3 right now. It's fine. He's got a game where when I watch him play, I'm like, this kid, from the moment he picked up a basketball, was just the best in every room he played in. He just naturally had an inclination towards the game, towards athletics in itself. And I feel like he has just been the best. And then probably around high-level AAU. I'm not sure if he ever played any Team USA youth stuff. And then getting to college, that's where he's starting to first feel he's having to manage and grow his game. But I still think he's come into the NBA a little bit getting caught out on, because he's actually like, everyone says that he sees the game slowly and he plays at his own pace, but I actually worry sometimes that he just is a touch slow. Like
Sure.
I sometimes I watch him, I'm like, is he playing at his own pace, or is he just slow and trying to use his strength, or not finding a balance between speed and strength, which is what the best guys kind of do. Well, when I say the best guys, I mean guys kind of built like him. So I think he's still got a lot to learn about the NBA game, about what he's capable of. And I think all of that is a slow process. But what's caught up is that teams are now scheming for him. He's not getting as friendly a whistle, which is fine. I don't think he was getting a whistle because refs had stars in their eyes. I just think it was something that happened, and it's not really happening lately. He's tired, and it's just looking a bit more like he's just kind of having to walk through mud at the moment to actually make anything happen. So for me, he projects as a guy where I'm like, he's going to be ultimately the best player in our team. But he's a guy I think will always need a complementary element to his game. There has only been, in the time where I've been watching basketball, and I'll say watching basketball properly, as a kid, watching Jordan and Shaq and all that stuff from Australia with like limited access to footage. Sure. I don't think I was like analyzing it as well as just being thrilled by it. But if I break it down into like, as I've gotten back into the NBA in my early 20s and started to develop a better understanding of it, LeBron is the only guy where I was like, yo, throw him out with him and 4 of my friends and we're going to the NBA finals. Like, he's the only dude I've ever seen, like, I wouldn't bet against him to just take anyone to the finals.
Sure.
Paolo is not that. He is a guy who, despite being built that way, despite having a similar style of game, good playmaker, great feel for it, he's going to need France. He's going to need a third guy. And totally. I just think that I'm curious as to where I think he goes. Love him. I genuinely think that like this is a franchise-changing pick that we've made. Just think it's going to take a couple of seasons for him to figure out both what he's capable of and what he needs to work on.
Yeah, man, I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I think like we got hyped too in his early days where it's like, oh my God, he's putting up LeBron numbers. Is this the next LeBron? You know, and no, because like there's not a next LeBron and there's not a next KD. You know, there's like a lot of really fucking awesome players in this league. Kawhi, Paul George, Anthony Davis, like all these really impactful guys that need help. And then there's like LeBron and KD and Giannis.
Yeah.
There's like 3 guys that could like drag people in this team. And even KD can't drag people. We've seen it, you know, like maybe Giannis could to an extent, but like Tatum, amazing player. He needs a wingman. He needs a Jaylen Brown. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think you're right. I think there's a lot of that with Paolo, where he's definitely going to need support. I do think though, like, I think we're in a spot where it's like people got to realize he's played more games than he's ever played in his life in a single career or a single season. He's not only played more, but he's like the number 1 and number 2 option on team. His usage is extremely high. He, like you said, he's getting singled out now and planning, and him and Franz are the guys that teams are planning for when they come up versus the Magic now. And so it's like, yeah, he's going to struggle a little bit different than Benedict Mathurin, who the other team is also scheming for Buddy Hield and Miles Turner and Tyrese Halliburton, right? He's not the number 1 option. He comes off the bench. No disrespect, he's an amazing player, but it's just like it's different, you know. The other thing is like, man, he's a rookie, and like he's gonna like figure some things out this summer. And then next year and the summer after that, you know, it's really weird and random to have a guy come out and just have a LeBron level rookie year or a Shaq level rookie year. Like those are really the only 2 guys I can tell you that have had like, holy shit, that's the guy. You know, there's very few of them that happen. So, Yeah, I think he's definitely in a weird spot. He's got to figure out some stuff with his threes. He needs to spend like all summer doing a lot of things, but one of them is like, figuring out that shot. To the point of the speed aspect, man, I do agree with you that like he kind of is like he's relying on his physical tools a bit. But I also do think the NBA is a different speed for everyone. And I think that there's probably a speed now that he's getting double team and triple team sometimes that like he probably does need to like figure out that speed of the game, He's
got a temperament too. Like he's confident, man. He's so confident, and that's great. But I don't know. Maybe there's something just about me where I get thrown by a guy being that good and like kind of like you see Benedict Mathurin the other day. Like Benedict Matherin's like jawing to him behind his ear, like staring him down. Like he's a guy who comes out and he's like, "Yo, I'm this." You know what I mean? And Paolo sometimes like I have to try and stop myself from. I've had moments where I'm just like, does he care? Like, like there is this little touch moments, but. Yeah, I don't want anyone to think what I'm saying is like I'm down on it. I'm not. I'm just someone who I think if you've watched enough basketball, you should be able to go like you should be able to see that a kid is generational and can be insane, but identify in the first year like this is how he's going to get there. And I think with him, like the things are becoming clear. But I'm so excited for like year 2 and year 3.
He needs a good, me too. I think he needs to find a good mentor that's like not just going to hype him up, that's going to humble him and like show him the right way to do things and get there, oh God, I'm about to sneeze. Maybe not. Okay, cool. No, I'm good.
When I saw him hanging with KD at the All-Star game, that's what I was like, all right, yeah, like get in the lab with KD over the summer, and man,
I even think like Michael Carter-Williams can be a positive impact on this guy. Like not that Terrence Ross wasn't, because there's so many different types of leadership. But one thing we see in Michael Carter-Williams is like, bro, he's going to go 110%, whether it's practice or on the court versus these kids. And that's something that, like through conversations and just having more of, that's just something like Paolo can take away and like learn from. I'm not saying like Michael Carter-Williams is the perfect mentor for this guy, but like this is why I want this team to have some vets next year, man, and not just be this super young team. I'm not saying they need to flip everyone and be a super old team, but like getting the right type of vets on this team, more than just one, getting 2, 3, 4 different vets on this team to help mentor these guys, not only like how to play well and complement them, but how to mentally approach the game, because they need someone other than a coach to help them with that stuff. They listen to coaches. You listen to your boss one way, but you listen to your coworker another way too. And they might tell you the same thing and you're going to take away different aspects from it, So
that's why I liked it. And like, I'm okay with the MCW signing. He's not going to play. Like the idea is that like, they've brought in an adult in the room who loves the organization. Like Michael Carter-Williams, like the sense has been that like this has kind of been the place where at the end of his career, he might say was home because he was, close with Coach Clifford, had the playoffs, playoff runs and stuff, but he's just going to be there, push the young guys in the chase for the play-in. And like, I think that next year, like I'm the same as you. I reckon if this season had not gone as well as it has, and despite everything I've said, I still consider this season a success. I would have said that, perhaps that consolidation trade needs to actually raise the average age of the team a bit more than I thought.
Sure.
But after this year, I'm kind of like, it could just be tinkers on the edge. Like I look at a guy like one example for me is a guy like James Johnson on the Pacers. Like old as fuck, dude. He's not playing. You know what I mean? Like there was rumors at the start of this year, like he was in talks with the Brisbane Bullets to come play out in the NBL. Like, and then an NBA team picked him up. And we were like, you're just going to sit your ass on the bench. But like, he is just every time one of those young kids does something, man, he is just like up cheering. Patty Mills, when like, he was famous for the towel waving and stuff like when he wasn't playing. Like, so just, this year we went into the season with our 10th to 13th guy averaging age-wise under 26. It's like get a couple more adults to be the guys who are happy to sit on the bench and just really be locker room presences. Matt Dellavedova just got brought back to the league essentially because Mike Brown loves that side of him so much. He got a vet minimum. He's played a little bit in Sacramento, but the idea was that he was there to go hard as hell at De'Aaron Fox every game, which he would do because I've watched Matt Dellavedova in training sessions with the Australian national team and he never stops. And what does that do? It brings out the best in the young guys. You know what I mean? So I want that 100%.
And that's kind of like, I mean, we can transition to Michael Carter-Williams. They just signed, like, for the listeners that might not know, the Magic brought Michael Carter-Williams back on a 2-year deal on I believe it's a veteran minimum for this year, a team option for next year. And maybe he plays some games, maybe he doesn't. I'm not sure. He hasn't played in 2 years. He's 2 surgeries later since the last time he's played a basketball game on the NBA floor. But like, I don't care if he plays. It'd be great if there was something there, if we needed him. But like, I just want his like mentorship, his toughness, the conversations that he's going to have with these guys that we just don't know to be impactful. I always thought that he would make a good coach, right? Like if he was done in the NBA and broken, that like he's the kind of guy that would make a great assistant coach on a bench and like kind of like be able to be there for that aspect of the game too. And I'm psyched he's back. I'm psyched. Is it the most imaginative move in the world? No, but I think it's going to be pretty helpful, man.
I think that like the good thing, a guy with like Michael Carter-Williams, what I like about what at this age and this point of his career that he brings in is he kind of had to be humbled. Like he won Rookie of the Year, right? I'm not imagining that. Am I? Yeah, he won Rookie of the Year. He was on those process sixes, averaging 16, 17 points a game. Like he had hype, he had something around him, and that's not where his career went. And he ended up being a bit of a journeyman, bit of a bench guy, a backup point guard.
A lot of injuries.
And injuries and stuff. And he's been kind of humbled and probably had to have a lot of like internal reflection and a lot of different ways he's had to deal with that. So it gives a bit of insight, not into the challenges someone like Paolo might face or Franz might face, but just to help them manage those challenges and navigate them themselves. So for me, like, I really love that. I think that he wasn't always the most enjoyable player to watch him with us.
No.
That first stint when we got him late in the season, like I was like, man, get this guy off my court. But the second year when I remember he started shooting less threes, started making the right pass more, and I feel like he felt a little bit more part of like the system as the backup point guard. It became a lot less ugly. And I really, the year we ended up going to the playoffs and played against the Bucks that year, there was a lot more better basketball from him.
He was playing more wing during that time period too.
Yeah, moving into that like 2-3 spot rather than always having the ball in his hand was a lot better.
For him. Yeah.
He
put on some size, was able to guard bigger guys. That was such a good move for him. And it's great too because like, we are a little weak at the 3 in the bench rotation. And so that's kind of where he can slot in and play if he's going to contribute a bit, because we have too many healthy guards. He's not going to find time there.
Look, you might need like Bowles defense. Like, I don't think it's as bad as it was at the start of the year.
No, it's gotten a little better.
There were times where he like looked like a cartoon, being like a toy being spun around, out of a Roadrunner movie or something, like where he was just lost. Caleb Houston's still a kid. I've loved what I've seen of Caleb Houston this year. I'm actually like, I really think we've got a great find there in the second round.
I'm huge on him.
There might be a game where Mose is like, yo, Michael Carter-Williams, man, like, you got to get out there and you got to lock someone up. You know what I mean? Or just go get 2 quick fouls. Like, get someone out of their shit. Get someone out of their rhythm. So it's a little thing we might have up our sleeve, but for me, it's going to be about the conversations and the activity on the practice court.
Yeah, absolutely. And if he can stay somewhat healthy, I wouldn't even mind him staying on the team next year if there's the right roster spots for it, sure. Depending on like how trades work out, if we're bringing back every guy and only dealing with those like 3 spots and draft picks or not. But like he's someone that could be good if he digs into that bench mentorship role, which I think he will. It's hard for me to go ahead.
There was an opportunity for shooting,
yeah.
but I look, it's done now. So I'm trying to find what's going to work out of what's been done.
And the shooter that you and I want, I want Caleb on the floor. I'd love Caleb minutes.
Yeah.
He's a guy, he's like 6'8", huge wingspan. He's a little small. He's got to beef up a little bit, but like
he does.
He's a decent-ish defender. He's not great yet, but you can see that he's going to get there to an extent. He's a really good shooter. I love what he potentially could be. I've been hammering this for like weeks in like different group chats and stuff. It's like, I know it's not going to happen. And then in some ways I'm disappointed, but if we could give Caleb like 12 minutes a game for the rest of the year, go do that. It's not going to happen, but I would love that for his development. Since it's not going to happen, I'm really excited that he's in the G League right now, getting some reps down there. But man, it would be so nice to see him, because I just think like, oh man, if we strike out on shooters next year, oh shit, we have this kid who might be able to make that next step as a shooter as he's, gets stronger and stuff like that. He's so good. Man, so like there's 20 games left, maybe 19 after this game that we're playing versus the Pelicans right now. What are some of like the end of season questions that you have that you want to see kind of get sorted out with this team?
I think the big one, everyone's thinking about the draft, even though we have improved, and even though we're clearly not, we're fighting for the play-in. Like the front office, has made it clear that like this is the step we're taking, because teams need to go from being lottery trash, getting picks, and they eventually need to be like, all right, we're trying to get back to being with the big dogs now.
Absolutely.
And just by the way it's gone, like it actually means our odds still aren't really that bad. Like there is a chance that we still get the 1 or 2 pick, but I'm telling myself that that's not the case. And I'm telling myself we're going to have 2 non-top 2 picks. Hopefully Chicago don't get in the top 4 to figure something out with, because we don't need to bring on 2 top 10 players from the lottery again right now. We need to see if we think one of them is better or could be a third person to Paolo or France. And then we need to kind of work out what we're doing with that second pick to get, age in the room, get supporting players in the room, get complementary pieces in the room, build a team, not just a room full of 20-year-olds who were all the best high school, college player on their team. You know what I mean? Like you actually need to build a team.
I absolutely do know what you mean, because that is like one of my thought processes too with this draft. I am not use both picks at all cost. I mean, there's a world where it makes sense, but I'm hoping that other opportunities to grab other players that not necessarily go grab a 32-year-old, but like there's going to be opportunity to potentially add a player or, move up to get the right guy in the draft. And then use something else. So like, yeah, I'm kind of on that same boat, man. It would be nice to add one really good draft player and then, use that. 'Cause if they don't make a consolidation trade, this front office has 3 spots to work with, assuming they are still invested in Bull another year and they re-sign Mo Wagner, and they pick up Gary Harris's option, which all 3 of those are realistic options. So then you're like, okay, Goga's probably not going to be here. Sko is not going to be here. And Michael Carter-Williams, probably not going to be here. Those are all team controlled options. And so it's like, cool. You draft 2 players in the first round. That's 1 spot for free agency, right? So do you want to leave 1 spot for $23 million to use? Probably not. We're probably not going to get a $23 million player. We might get 2 MLE level players, like 2 $10, $12 million players, or like a 15 and a $7 million player, something like along those lines. And so, and I just think like we might get some better depth and balance to this roster by doing it that way. And I know we're going to get hit in the comments by a ton of draft people that are just going to yell at us, and that's okay, 'cause I don't really care. But that's like, this is kind of it's refreshing that you're on like the same page as I am. A
part of being on that same page is that like this year, because we've been winning, I haven't I haven't just looked up everybody yet. And like right now, my brain is like, I know about the twins, the Thompson twins. I know about Scoot and Vic. I know about Brandon Miller for reasons that I shouldn't. You know what I mean? Unfortunately. And from there, it's like I know about the Australian kids a little later in the draft, and the one French kid who's playing in the NBL right now, Ray and Repair, who is like probably top 15. Cool. So like a part of it is like I don't really in my head. I'm like, if we get the 4th pick and the Chicago pick was like 8th or 9th, I'm like, I would love for them to see what they could turn that into. But, you know, someone is going to tell me that, like, no, there's a guy who could go 4th that we need to get. And that's fine. Like, we, again, none of us are going to control what actually happens. Yeah. But I would love to see this team next year look like Paolo and Franz and even more complementary skills around them. Whether or not a decision about Jalen or Jalen Cole or Markel needs to be made about, you know, moving one of them to get a player who is going to be able to help cover up some of Franz and Paolo's youth-driven flaws just yet. I don't know. But we're past, like, you know, we're not Houston, Detroit anymore. Like, we're not with them now. We're going somewhere else to them, you know, and we've got different moves that we need to start be thinking about.
No, exactly. I agree with all that. Another question that I have that needs to be answered, and I'd love to get your thoughts on it too, is like, man, what do we got in J.I.? You know, it's concerning that he had to sit out last game for, you know, just knee recovering, which wasn't like completely unexpected. We knew he was going to have some games the rest of the year where they just rest him and not overdo it. But now that it's been reported he's missing 2 games in a row with hamstring tightness or something like that, it's like, you need to see what this kid's got. Because if he's got 16 minutes and then it gives him a setback, and that's what the rest of the season's going to be looking like, it's really scary after he's been out of the league, you know, like rehabbing for 2 years to an extent. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on J.I. since he's been back? And just like, are you concerned as I am about his legs right now? What are you thinking?
Like, since he's been back, man, there's been some flashes where I've been like, okay, cool, this is great. He looks bigger. He's had some moments where it looks like perhaps, and like, you know, I can't tell exactly how fast someone's running in the moment, but there's been some times where he's like kind of attacked a closeout or made a baseline cut where I'm like, okay, like he still looks pretty mobile. Like that's good. Defensive instincts are obviously going to take a little while to come back, but I think he was averaging, I think per 36, he's averaging like 4 steals a game. It's just blocks that he hasn't really been getting. But again, defense isn't just steals and blocks. It's obviously about like positioning and making people's lives hard. And I think he's showing that he's still capable of that. I think the remainder of this year was always just going to be an easing him in. So yeah, like I feel like I'm not really watching J.I. with too much worry. For me, it's like it'll be next season where I want to be like, okay, who is this player? And I don't think there was any opportunity. I don't think he's going anywhere. Like, there is no way he gets traded in the offseason unless it's for a star, like a part of a package for a star, because of the investment this franchise has made in him, without a doubt. Like, he is on the team next season. He has the backup 4 spot at the very least, 100%. So play-wise, like, yeah, it is what it is right now. With this second injury, look, man, I don't know. Like, it could just be a coincidence. Like, it could just be that he's like had a little bit of a hamstring strain, and like hamstrings are tricky. They are lingering issues. As someone who follows rugby league in Australia, it's like a common, like, hamstrings are things that can hang with guys. You know what I mean? It's a big part of the game. So I'm just, you know, hopefully in a week it's like, cool, he's back to not playing back-to-backs, back to not playing 3 and 4s, you know, and just that general management that we all figured would be the case until the season ends, right?
Yeah, totally.
So I'm trying not to think about it too much. I wonder, like, you know, if he's fine in the offseason, he comes back and he looks like some version of the J.I. that we knew and saw in those 2 seasons, well, that one season especially, right before he got injured. A part of me is then like, well, maybe the question is flipped from a backcourt to a frontcourt. Where does he fit? with Paolo and
Sure.
Wendell. Like a part of me would be like, I would love to see the three of them just rotate between the 4 and the 5 and just try like unorthodox things and see how Paolo looks at the 5, see how JI looks at the 5. I think we did end up seeing some Aaron Gordon and JI 4 or 5 minutes for a while there. I think specifically in the bubble, was good. So there is questions that are going to come up with JI, like while he was away, we had the opportunity to pick some guys who might, kind of impede a little bit on his fit on the team. But for me right now, it's just it's nice having the kid back on court. You know what I mean? Like, I think the conversation around JI off court is, where I stand. We've all put our piece forward. With me, it's just like if he's wearing the uniform, man, I want him to succeed. And I was happy to have him back, dude. I actually was like quite excited. As much as I hate his politics, man, I even like when he came back, man, I even got like that first game back, man, I felt kind of emotional.
Bro, I did too.
Yeah, I was like, I just remember him like when he injured himself in the bubble and like it was devastating, man. Like the wheelchair, he's fucking bawling his eyes out and just as a human on a human level, just to be like, the effort and the work that he's put back in to get back to doing what he has like. He is a point something of a percentage talent at his profession, like at what he does. So I was happy for that, but it's next season where I'm going to have more of a feel for where the JI story is at. I think this year I'm just happy to have it roll the way it rolls.
That's a fair assessment, man. And probably a really healthy way to look at it too.
I feel like some people have like instantly just gone crazy, man. It's like, hold up.
I think it'd be a really good sign if he joined the team on this road trip, because he didn't currently travel with them to New Orleans, but they did say it was possible for him to join the team in a later part of the games. So maybe tomorrow he wakes up feeling good and there's a potential chance. Like I think that'd be really encouraging. If he doesn't join the team on this 3-game road trip, I might raise a little bit of an eyebrow, but like really, man, my hope for this guy is that like he just goes into the offseason healthy. I mean, go into the offseason healthy, not rehabbing. There's 20 more games. If he plays 10 to 13 more games, like success, cool. That'd be fine with me. I don't need him to play all 20 games or 19 games left. Just end maybe have a couple of games where he gets up to like 16 to 20 minutes again. Like that'd be dope. I don't really care if he's playing like more than that. I don't really need to see it, but if he can just go into this off season where he can train and focus on basketball and not on rehab, that'd be really cool. I'm interested to see like if they do any sort of like contract extensions with him, obviously at a much cheaper level, because he is going into his last year of his contract next season. And so there could be, I just wonder what they do. It's a conversation for this summer that I'm sure that they're going to have, because I think they're fully invested in him, unless, like you said, there's a superstar coming or all-star coming back this way.
One thing, just on the note of like him not traveling with the team, we could just be looking at this wrong. And it like, we've got to remember, it could just be the history in itself where they're like, okay, for him, we'll probably just keep him here and just make sure that like, our doctors are like whatever doctors, because I don't know how a medical staff works in regards to travel, but I would assume that they would have staff that probably aren't going on every road trip,
sure.
And so perhaps it's just a precautionary thing, just given his actual history, like just to be like, all right, man, you just stay here for the weekend and we'll get you back on the team when they're back, So that's like I said, like if in a week's time, nothing has changed, then okay, cool. There's something,
And to that point too, Luke, like people don't need to freak out over the next couple of days. Like I think we're going to be in this like small, like game by game situation where, oh, he's not with the team. What is going on? What's going on? And I think you do bring a good point. Like it's JI. They're not going to force anything. Just like, let's not freak out about it. He could have a hangnail and they could hold him back just because why risk it? Why risk it? And it could be something like that. So that's a good reminder, even good for myself to hear to like, let's just see what happens in a week from now and see where he's at. Sure. Thank you. I appreciate that. Luke, man, let's wrap things up. Do you have any last thoughts or points you wanted to bring up before we conclude this podcast?
Look, man, I think that, since returning to Australia, I probably get on the show a little less. Just time differences sometimes, can get in the way with us a little bit. But I just want to, I don't know, anyone listening, I just want to remind Magic fans that, this is a cool season. This is just I think that this is the most, we made the playoffs 2 years in a row. Yeah, we won that Milwaukee game and we won it convincingly, and that was an unreal feeling. I remember saying to a friend of mine that day, people will look at this like Milwaukee lost the game. No, Orlando won it, and we had the DJ Augustine buzzer beater. There were two unreal games. That second half run in the 19 season was unreal. But for me, this is the most excited I've been since we had the Dwight, Rashad, Hito teams.
Me too.
Yeah, it is. To me, it feels like the start of something special. It feels like the buzz around the NBA is that is the case. I just hope our guys stay healthy. We have guys on the team that I want to stress to people. A couple of them will be gone. If this team does make a semifinals or a conference finals in 3 to 5 years, don't think it's with this exact crew, because it's not going to be. Franz and Paolo will be there, but they're the only two I think that right now the front office would view as absolutely untouchable, probably. You know what? Even Franz, I think, despite the fact that I think this year Franz has been our best player, I think the front office there could still be a package that would get them being okay. But I've really been thinking a lot this year about people's fandom, and that sometimes I get this sense that people who follow basketball fucking hate it. It's just so much negativity and the problem, and it's almost like they carry it like a burden, like a cross to bear. And I don't know, maybe this comes because I do so much work with kids and I'm around so many positive basketball environments, and I'm just sick for the game. I walk into a game on Saturday and there'll be under 12s girls playing before us. And so I don't mean to gender it at all. Everyone's a hooper, but there'll be just a random game. And I'm fucking, I start going with it, and I start being see a kid do half a Euro step, and I'm whoa. And I can watch basketball at any level, and I'm locked in on it. And I'm then engaged in this level of ability and what's happening within it. So maybe I'm just sick for the fucking game, but the Orlando Magic break my heart and they frustrate me sometimes, but I just want to remind everyone, we're in a cool spot. There's no need to have so much negativity. Basketball's fucking sick. It's fun to like it. It's got its flaws, the NBA as a league, but I just think Magic fans just take a moment sometimes and just be this is cool. We got Franz Wagner and Paolo Banchero, man. What the fuck? And we've got Markel Fultz. Markel's my favorite player, so I'll always ride for him. He's one of the funnest players in the league to watch, and it feels like it's starting to get out in the rest of the league now that he's not just I think people think he went to Orlando and he is just actually still that player from Philly. I feel like people are starting to catch on.
That's shifting a little bit. That's shifting a little bit,
man.
Sure.
But I don't know. This is exciting, man. And even if we, we're going to finish the season 34 and whatever, cool. That's dope compared to the last few seasons.
Oh, hell yeah.
And everything is about forward progress, and I'm excited.
I think some of the aspects of you thinking about fans being in the negative has to deal with that you have to talk to me way too often, and some of my goddamn this front office issues that I have with them. But
hey man, I've got that too. I do have it. I just think that I feel like I've stepped away from it a fair bit. But sometimes when I'm flicking through the Twitter app and I see Magic, I have look, I'll admit, I have a block and mute list that is so huge of Magic Twitter. I couldn't deal with it anymore. You know what I mean? I couldn't deal with the arguing and negativity of some kid whose face I can't see, and they've got Jalen Suggs as their profile picture. I stopped. I'm not doing that anymore. But when it does come my way, a part of me is I feel frustration with the team, with the coaching, the front office sometimes, but imagine if we were fucking Detroit fans still, or Houston fans, or and I don't mean it like I'm not one of those people who likes getting into arguments with fan bases, but with all due respect, because for those fans, because they obviously love their team too, but these can't be enjoyable seasons. You know what I mean?
Man.
Like
last year was hard for us.
But I want them to have enjoyable seasons. I want everybody to feel so. Just that we're in this transitional period for me is exciting, and I hope the next couple of years it keeps moving forward.
Man, I agree, man. Like there's a lot of, we're only going up at this point, like those teams that you were mentioning before, the Vooch teams and stuff like that, they were exciting, but man, those guys were like in their late 20s that were bringing us there.
Had a cap on it.
Yeah, it had a cap. But like, we're in such a cool spot right now. This team is having success on the backbone of kids. These guys are kids. They're 22. I'm sorry. I'm in my mid 30s now. I still consider that a kid. You barely have hair on your chest at that point, just ending puberty at 21, 22. So it's like, it's cool to see this team like do so well. And this awesome, like winning over 50% of our games since whatever game 30 or whatever. So it's pretty cool for sure.
Just a quick reminder, we were 5-20 at one stage this year.
We were
like it was
miserable.
I was miserable at that point. And
yeah,
like the turnaround we've had, the fact that everyone came back healthy, and you start to see what a semblance of the roster looks like with us now. With a few gaps still, we still think shooting is an issue on this team. We know it is, but it's been really fun since then, man. And I'm like, it's hard watching young players throw games away in the times that they do, but they'll learn from it, and it's going to be cool.
Oh, yeah, that Pacers game was a huge learning experience for them.
Yeah, the Pacers game was that was a kick in the dick, because that was like, all right, this is a team we're going to be competing with for this playing spot. We just scraped by with Detroit. Like that Detroit one didn't thrill me much because
it was an ugly game.
A putback dunk game winner just tells me that someone missed a shot. Yeah, like Paolo missed another shot, dude. He was rough that game, man. And like we went to him, and like I'm starting to think we've got I think Markel Fultz, someone said the other day, maybe on the 6 man that he's like 60% in the clutch this season. Like I'm starting to think that maybe if we need 2 points, he's our guy. So it didn't feel great, that win. And then it was like, all right, well, we need to go to Indiana, and that needs to be the one where we like set the tone for what the remainder of the season is going to be, and we kind of didn't. So if I have a look now, man, I am just quickly having a look. We are up on the Pelicans.
We are.
Funnily enough, after our discussion, Paolo has 8 points of 4 of 6 in 11 minutes, and he's got the highest plus bonus. Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, all right. 2 rebounds. If he gets those rebounds up, we might be on triple-double watch.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yep.
I want to, before we close this, I just want to say I'm really excited to see the development of Paolo's playmaking over the next couple of years. Like that is such like when I think of guys that like are awesome number one options, they're guys that can also make their play, like their teammates better. And like Paolo has that. I think it's a little bit less exciting. Like it's good for a rookie, maybe not as good as I thought it was going to be right out the bat, but man, he's got so much potential to grow there. And I think that's so cool, because you want a guy that can make your players better. And that's a guy that can score potentially on the three level score if he ever gets his 3-point shooting back up. And the ability to like see in different passing lanes to get other guys. I'm excited.
You can be built like a number one, like a primary scorer in the NBA, and that's all well and good. Yeah. But what takes you to the next level is how do you handle a double? How do you handle like someone over helping on movement? You know what I mean? Yep. I had this conversation literally just the other day on Sunday at the Indigenous Basketball Association League. These 2 brothers, right? 14 years old, these 2 kids, Barron and Nate, unreal. Like they play in the top level of VJBL, and they are just like sick to watch for their age. They're like 14 years old, and they've both got D1 college hopes. And I had Nate on my team, and they were just every time he beat that top guy off the dribble, they were coming in. And I said to him, they know who you are now. You need to now show them the other part of your game. And that's when you're whipping it out. That's when you can stop on a dime, make something happen off the elbow. Like that's the next level. And Paolo's got that. He's shown it. It's just going to be cool to see where it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, all right, Magic fans, we're going to let you go. Luke, I appreciate you tuning in. I know you're not active on social that much anymore, but in case someone wants to tell you how awesome or how horrible your takes were, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is Smithy4701. I deleted all my tweets. I have like 3 tweets. One was about the Rugby League World Cup. Another is about my crazy ideas to fix the amount of games in the NBA season. One day, let me do an episode where I just talk you through I have all these ideas about the All-Star game and everything. It'll be a batshit funny episode. We can get Jonathan on it because he would just laugh at everything I say.
We'll do it in the off season.
Yeah, dude, I'd love that. I'd love that. But
yes,
Smithy4701. I still I'll comment on some Magic tweets and stuff here and there. Don't go as hard as I used to, but I love reading. There is some great people on Magic Twitter who have some really reasonable and thought out takes, and they're the type of people I like to, read their opinions on things.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you joining the show today. It was a pleasure having a conversation with you. That's not just like through text anymore. And we'll do this again soon, guys. Until next time, Magic fans, peace out. Thanks for listening.